Hello, my name is Matthew Deutsch, and I'm a professional business plan writer. And today we're going to talk about why home healthcare businesses are great businesses. As a professional business plan writer, I've been dealing with these types of companies for the past 20 years. There's hardly been a month where I'm not dealing with working with a client in regards to either helping them expand their business or develop a new home healthcare agency. One of the great things about these businesses is that they have relatively low startup costs. If you're an individual who has who's a registered nurse, or an LPN or a CMA, and you're going to be working with your patients directly in order to start the business, you're going to need very little in the way of startup capital and startup assets, primarily a car to get you to and from client's location. You'll have to set up a website. The primary expense that you're going to have is just that startup legal costs and accounting costs to get the appropriate systems in place, to get all the certifications and licensure that you need to operate within the letter of the law. One of the things I always recommend to all my clients who are starting home healthcare businesses, or any business for that matter, is to just hire an attorney to help you through this process, especially for this type of business, and especially if you're going to be receiving funding from private health insurance companies or Medicare. You're going to need to go through quite a bit of paperwork. There are attorneys that are out there that specialize in doing this, and they'll be able, even though it's a little bit expensive, they're going to be able to get you through that process very quickly so that you can start to accept things like insurance and Medicare. The services of a home healthcare nurse or service provider are expensive, and many families can't afford it, but those that do have insurance and those that are on Medicare, in many instances, are able to have skilled care when needed that'll be reimbursed. That's a huge plus for this business. In future videos, I'm going to cover the actual direct startup costs of this, but for the purpose of this, just want to discuss why I think these businesses are great. Number two, they can be run as home-based businesses. If you're just starting out, there's no need to rent a fancy office, unless you're planning on having a number of staff right away, where a home office may not be appropriate. But if you're just an individual medical service provider that wants to get into this business and is going to start on their own, this can be initially started as a home-based business. A lot of people will typically rent a private mailbox at a place like a UPS store or any type of packaged chip store, just so their registered address is not their home address, which is always a good measure. But outside of that, this thing can easily be started from home and then put into an office once you start scaling. Number three, sort of combining what I just discussed there, this can be, again, started on your own. If you are a registered nurse or an LPN or a CMA, you can go out there and advertise your services on a website and get your first client and actually render the services yourself to sort of build that initial client base, which will segue into the fourth thing I'm going to bring up. Is that these businesses are highly scalable. If you're working in an area, especially that has a high density population of people that are older, especially as baby boomers continue to get older and they require a far greater degree of care, you'll be able to find an immense number of both individuals who are looking for your services, as well as families that are looking to have a trusted service provider for their loved one. You'll be able to find an immense audience. Additionally, with scalability, again, as more people continue to call you, you can easily retain additional staff as needed, whether it's a registered nurse, LPN, CMA, or any other individual who's qualified to provide those services. You'll be able to onboard them quickly, send them to that client's location, and then start billing appropriately from your home office, or eventually your physical space that you'll have away from your home. These businesses, once you scale up quite a bit as well, if you're looking for an exit strategy, if you want to sell it, these businesses carry a huge sales premium, primarily because, one, the income is very recurring. Once a family or an individual chooses their care provider, that's going to be an ongoing relationship. They're not going to really want to switch to another company or to another individual, especially if they're having a fantastic experience. That highly recurring income makes these businesses extremely valuable. And if you were to, let's say, want to relocate or just sell the business for a substantial profit, you'll be able to do so very quickly once you market that business for sale. I can't remember what number on here, but I think number 5, relative immunity from negative changes in the economy. And this is especially noted for skilled nursing care. Again, in many instances, insurance will cover a substantial portion of these costs, if not all of it in certain instances. That way, again, you're having either the multi-trillion, dollar federal government or, multi-billion dollar state-based or private-based insurance companies reimbursing you for services rendered. They're always going to, provided that the physician who authorizes the service continues to do so, that's something that they're going to continue to have to pay for until that physician says otherwise. And then the last note, and probably one of the most important, is that this is a business that's not really going to be replaced by AI or technology. This is a human-based business. There aren't people out there that are going to want to have technology replace their needs. This is a very hands-on job, especially in skilled nursing, where you're assisting with bathing, providing medication, and then also just providing general companionship. This is a human-centered business, and it will always remain so. I really can't picture any scenario where someone's going to opt for some future technology to replace sort of that human interaction, that human care that's needed, especially for an older person or someone that has developmental disabilities or whatever their matter may be that requires this additional level of help. So that, again, you're going to be facing not only from the fact that you're going to be able to thrive regardless of whether the economy is doing well or not, but as technological innovation continues to occur, this is still always going to be a human-based business. And it's for those reasons that I love home healthcare businesses. I've seen them do immensely well. They're highly scalable and relatively low risk, especially if you're a medical service provider that can initially start the business on their own by directly rendering services. That's pretty much it. In conclusion, one of the reasons why I'm creating this video series is just to discuss topics related to entrepreneurship and business, and also to promote my own service, which is I write business plans professionally, as I mentioned at the start. If you are in need of a business plan specific for a home healthcare agency, whatever vein you're going through with that, feel free to reach us at any time. The link to the website is down below. And again, you can call me directly, and I'm always happy to do a consultation, discuss whatever you need. Thank you very much for taking a look, and take care. Bye.